Will, can I ask you something that has been confusing me lately? A few weeks ago, I was having dinner with a group of friends here in the Bay Area. Most of them are doing very well: software engineers, product managers, doctors, business owners, people making $200,000 a year, people making $300,000 a year, some even making over $500,000 a year. And yet, somehow, the conversation kept coming back to the same topic: money stress.
Wealth isn't disappearing, it's changing hands.
The next 10 years won't reward hustle. They'll reward better decisions. I'm QiQi, tracking capital before it trends.
I'm Will, 20 years navigating real market cycles. The edge today isn't more information, it's sharper judgment. This is Align Wealth 2040.
Clarity,
Strategy.
action. One person talked about mortgage payments, another talked about private school tuition, someone else talked about layoffs, and one person jokingly said, "I make more money than ever, but somehow I feel poorer than I did 5 years ago." Everybody laughed, but nobody disagreed. How is that possible? How can people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year still feel financially stressed?
That's actually one of the biggest financial stories nobody is talking about. We hear a lot about inflation, we hear about AI, we hear about stock markets, we hear about interest rates, but we rarely talk about what I call the $300,000 income trap. The strange reality is that many high-income families are discovering something unexpected. A high income does not automatically create financial security, and in some cases it creates the illusion of security.
The illusion of security? What do you mean by that?
Because income and wealth are not the same thing. Let's say someone earns $300,000 a year. To most people, that sounds like success, and honestly, it is. They worked hard, built a career, made good decisions, but then reality shows up. Federal taxes, state taxes, mortgage payments, property taxes, childcare, healthcare, retirement savings, travel, family obligations, daily expenses. Suddenly, that $300,000 starts shrinking very quickly. And before long, many people discover they're earning a lot but keeping very little.
I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially here in California, because the number sounds huge, but the lifestyle attached to that income is also expensive.
Exactly. And there's another problem. As income rises, expectations rise. People move into larger homes, drive nicer cars, take more expensive vacations, upgrade their lifestyles. None of those things are necessarily bad. But many people accidentally create a situation where every dollar they earn is already spoken for. The result is something surprising. They look wealthy from the outside, but they don't feel wealthy on the inside.
That's interesting, because I know people who earn less but seem less stressed, and I know people who earn a lot more but constantly worry about money.
That's because stress is often related to dependency, not income. Imagine two families. Both earn $300,000 a year. Family A spends nearly everything they earn. Their lifestyle depends entirely on their paycheck. Family B lives slightly below their means. They invest consistently. They build assets. They create additional income streams. 5 years later, their financial lives look completely different, not because they earned different salaries, but because they made different decisions.
So the problem isn't necessarily income. It's what happens after the income arrives.
Exactly. Most people focus on earning money. Very few people focus on converting income into wealth, and that's where many high earners get stuck. They're incredibly good at making money, but they never build systems that allow money to work for them, so they stay on the treadmill, running faster every year, but never feeling like they're getting ahead.
I think AI has made this even worse, because a lot of people who felt secure 5 years ago suddenly don't feel secure anymore.
Absolutely. For decades, many professionals assumed that higher education guaranteed long-term income growth, and for a long time that was mostly true. But now we're entering a different environment. AI is changing industries. Automation is changing productivity. Companies are becoming more efficient. Some jobs will disappear. Many jobs will remain. But one thing is becoming clear. Income growth may not be as predictable as it once was. That's why so many people are feeling anxious. Not because they're unemployed, but because they're uncertain.
That's such a good point. I know people who still have great jobs. They're still getting paid, but they don't feel confident about the next 10 years.
Exactly. And uncertainty changes behavior. When people feel uncertain, they start asking different questions. Instead of asking, "How much can I earn?" they start asking, "How long can I maintain this?" That's a very different question. and it's often the beginning of real financial planning.
This reminds me of a conversation I had recently with a friend. He's a senior engineer in Silicon Valley. Very smart, very successful. The kind of person most people would assume has everything figured out. A great salary, company stock, a beautiful home, a family. From the outside, he looked financially secure. But when we started talking, he admitted something surprising. He said, "If I lost my job tomorrow, I honestly don't know how long I'd feel comfortable." Not because he was irresponsible, not because he wasn't earning enough, but because his entire financial life had been built around one assumption, that the paycheck would continue. And I think that's what shocked him. For years, he focused on increasing his income, but he never stopped to ask whether he was increasing his independence.
That's such an important distinction. Many people spend decades optimizing their careers. They become experts in their professions. They negotiate salaries. They earn promotions. They climb the corporate ladder. But very few spend the same amount of time building financial independence. The result is that their lifestyle grows alongside their income. Every raise creates a bigger house, a nicer car, more subscriptions, more obligations, more fixed expenses, and eventually they wake up one day realizing that despite earning more than ever, they need every dollar coming in. That's not freedom. That's dependency at a higher income level. And unfortunately, it's becoming increasingly common among high earners.
So if income alone isn't enough, what should people focus on?
Assets, cash flow, flexibility. Those three things matter more than most people realize, because income stops when you stop working. Assets can continue growing. Cash flow can continue arriving. Flexibility gives you options, and options are incredibly valuable. Let's imagine two people. One earns $300,000 a year but has no meaningful assets. The other earns the same amount but has investments, retirement accounts, and additional income streams. Which person is more secure? The second one, every single time, because security comes from ownership, not just income.
I think that's where many people get confused. They assume that because they have a high salary, they're automatically building wealth.
And that's one of the most expensive assumptions people can make. A paycheck can create wealth, but only if part of that paycheck becomes an asset. Otherwise, income simply passes through your life. It arrives, it gets spent, and then it's gone. That's why some people work for 30 years and still feel financially vulnerable, and others build meaningful wealth despite earning less.
So what does escaping the $300,000 income trap actually look like?
It starts with a mindset shift. Instead of asking, "How can I earn more?" ask, "How can I keep more?" Then ask, "How can I invest more?" And finally, "How can I create income that doesn't depend entirely on me?" Those questions change everything, because the goal isn't to impress people. The goal is freedom. Freedom to make choices, freedom to change careers, freedom to spend time with family, freedom to retire when you want, not when you're forced to.
Let's talk about retirement for a moment, because I think many high earners assume they'll figure it out later.
That's very common, and it's also risky. Many people think retirement is an age. I think retirement is an income system. The question isn't, how old are you? The question is, can your assets support your lifestyle? I've met people in their 60s who aren't financially ready to retire, and I've met people in their 40s who could if they wanted to. The difference isn't age. The difference is preparation.
So maybe the real challenge facing high earners today isn't making money. It's transforming income into long-term security.
Exactly, because the biggest financial mistake isn't earning too little. It's earning a lot and assuming that's enough. The world is changing. Technology is changing. The economy is changing. And the people who thrive over the next 20 years won't necessarily be those with the highest salaries. They'll be the people who build the strongest financial foundations, the people who understand the difference between income and wealth, the people who turn paychecks into assets and assets into freedom.
I love that, because it changes the entire conversation. Maybe the question isn't, why do I still feel poor? Maybe the better question is, am I building wealth or am I only building income?
That's exactly the question, because one day your paycheck will stop. Retirement, career change, health issues, life happens. When that day comes, your assets take over. And the sooner people understand that, the sooner they can escape the $300,000 income trap.
And maybe that's the real message of today's episode. High income is a wonderful thing, but income alone is not the finish line.
Exactly. Income creates opportunity. Assets create security. Cash flow creates freedom. and freedom is ultimately what most people are searching for.
If this sparked a new perspective, tell us what you're thinking.
Subscribe and grow with this early community. We publish weekly, breaking down the forces shaping your financial future so you can move with clarity and confidence. Align Wealth 2040. Building wealth with intention.